Hello everyone, so I'm now halfway through the course. It's been 6 months already since I started the Abbey Road journey, and since starting there's been so much that I've gained, so much that I've learned on a personal level, kind of how understanding myself a lot more as a musician, as well as all the countless technical skills, the exams and everything, making music literally every single day. Music isn't something I do as a side part of my life now, music is my life ultimately. And I want to take you through a journey, just a journey through the day of what it's like going to Abbey Road, what it's like, what I get up to every day, that kind of thing. And keep watching till the end because I'll mention how I'm trying to do an initiative which will involve you as well. And of course, one of the most important things is everything that I've developed and learnt so far and everything that I'm hoping to achieve by the end of the course has only been possible because of your support through the campaign. The campaign is now just over halfway through in terms of what we needed to raise, and so grateful for your support, but there's definitely more to go. So let's go with a day in the life of an Abbey Road Institute student. So just left home on my way to Angel Studio, and for today we're going to be doing some recording sessions where someone takes the roles producer, assistant engineer, junior engineer, Pro Tools operator, and intern. And the idea is to learn the different various roles which you'd have in a studio. So today I'm assistant engineer, and what that will involve is controlling the SSL desk and the patch bay. So plugging in things into the console, patching everything to make sure that the Pro Tools operator and whoever's producing the session knows exactly what's going on. It's very involved, but I'll show you exactly what I get up to. One of the most significant parts of the whole course, and it's something which I definitely didn't do before the course, was just collaborate so much more on music. Everything you hear in this video right now is something which I played a role in creating, whether it's producing the whole thing, composing it, or playing as a musician, but all are an example of working with tons of other musicians on something which ended up sounding great ultimately. And it's one of the most powerful things about this course, being able to collaborate with people and actually work towards something really powerful. The track you hear right now, for example, was created and completely composed by me. And originally it contained a more electronic / synthesized flute part. And I had the idea of including Lucas Jordan, who you can hear playing the flute solo right now. And he just adds so much character to the entire track, something which wouldn't have existed before and sounded okay before he played flute over the entire track. Now sounds absolutely incredible because of him. And this is one of the most important things about the course.
Throw it back to the 9-0. I could run the game with my anti-blind.
One of the most powerful things so far is just how incredible the impact of everything I'm learning is on everything I work on music. I work on a lot of music at Abbey Road, but there's so much I do outside of it, whether it's composing for games or small projects and that kind of thing. And every time I make a decision, I think to myself, I wouldn't have made this before Abbey Road. It's changing not only the tools that I use and the technical ability, but just the way I think about music as well.
Penny, they ain't keeping enough beats run the rhythm with the teeth and net.
One thing that I've continued to do, even when the course has started up until now, is giving back knowledge as much as I can, because I'm so grateful for everything I'm learning at the moment, and I think it's only right to try and pass on so much of the information that I'm learning to so many people around the world. So Everything Fancy, for example, my YouTube channel, I released a video really recently analysing a track from a video game which managed to get a huge appeal. And I realised so much of what I'm talking about and so much of the information that I'm presenting are things which I could only have learned at Abbey Road. A way of thinking about music and a way of understanding music which is just so different from what I've been used to before. Walking up to the studio now after what tends to be a pretty long journey, but the excitement of actually being there makes it feel like it's nothing at all. It's interesting to know what we'll get up to today. I'm going into this, as I mentioned before, as assistant engineer of the session, but I don't know what the session is. I don't know what the producer of the session will have in mind for today. Whatever it is, I could be just patching cables in, I could be on the keys, recording something. Whatever it is, I'm looking forward to it. So the first session was being led by Ricky, who was creating a techno track, but what he wanted to do was to take a Roland bass line, which is a bass synthesizer, and run it through an amplifier and record that sound coming out of the amplifier with 2 microphones.
Were you running the synth on this?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're gonna need to control that drum kit at some point.
You can do some automation as well while you're doing it.
Okay, that sounds good.
Some eye cut off, give some distortion, really acid style, right?
Now you could, in theory, just plug that synthesizer directly into a computer and just record it that way. It's the easier option, but it's not the best sounding option. Doing it this way creates loads of lovely distortion and gives the bass a sense of warmth and richness to it. So what am I doing in the room? It was me and Lucas Jordan in the recording room having to perform and program this thing to record it live. Have we used the bass line before? Absolutely not. We had 15 minutes to figure it out, come up with a pattern, and just record something. Here's what we made by the end of it. Now, the experience of putting yourself in unexpected situations didn't end there, because immediately after that I had to get on a Prophet synthesizer and record something. Just come up with something on the spot and record something for this techno track. A genre which I wouldn't claim to be too familiar with, and on top of that, I've never used this instrument before as well, but as the designated keyboard guy, I had to figure it out. Now it's time for the second session of the day, where I was actually the assistant engineer. And for this session, the producer, who was Joshua in this case, decided to record drums, and so our starting point was to set up all the microphone positions in the live room. In a recording studio, you have 2 rooms. You have the live room, where the musicians are actually performing with their instruments, and you have the control room. All that performance and the microphone signal is being captured and sent to the control room. But the question is, how is it being sent there? And once it's there, how do you get that signal from a wire all the way into Pro Tools, the software that you're using to record everything? The answer is the console, the big desk in front of all the buttons and stuff and knobs everywhere. Now my role is to plug everything into the right place, but it's not as straightforward as it sounds. I was going to describe it like a jigsaw puzzle, but in reality, so many pieces can fit with each other. It's about finding the right piece in this particular situation. And part of that involves making sure you're planning, taking the appropriate notes, and making sure you understand exactly how the desk and the console works.
Kick-in 3.
And so, as is always the case, I mentioned right at the beginning of the day that I went to the studio today expecting to be assistant engineer and plugging some cables in and that sort of thing. And in reality, I had to program a bass line, which is like a bass machine, essentially, a synth bass machine, which I'd never used before. So I had to figure out on the spot and come up with a bass line to work with Ricky's techno song, and also play on a synthesizer for his track as well. 2 things which I never expected to do today, but it's kind of like why it's so amazing to go to a place like this. You go and you start the day thinking, oh, I know exactly what I'm doing. But by the end of it, not only have you completely gone left field of what you ended up doing, but you've learned a bunch of new things on the way. So you might be wondering why all of a sudden the quality of the video has changed massively and why I'm sitting next to a piano in the live room at Angel Studio. At the beginning of this video, I mentioned something about you coming in handy for something that I'm trying to achieve, a new project that I'm working on, and I want to tell you a bit about it. So much about the road to Abbey is about bringing people as a whole forward. It's not just about me and my dream, it's about all of our dreams of expressing ourselves and ultimately changing the world through music. And that's a really, really important thing for me. And it should be a really, really important thing for all of us to be able to express ourselves in ways in which you couldn't ordinarily do through any other means. Because music ultimately was the thing that kept me going and kept me persevering, and what's allowed me to find my purpose, and I know it applies to so many other people. So what I'm doing at the moment is a new series of videos where I invite someone, it could be from anywhere, to be able to record something and have their their story and their ideas of music to be professionally recorded in a professional studio with amazing equipment, have it mixed and mastered by me, potentially produced as well, and have something of their own, an official release in a situation where they might not necessarily have had access to a studio like this. So, most important thing is, if you know anyone, or if you yourself are an artist who thinks that I've got something that I want to produce to release, please make sure to let me know, because I'd love to invite you. Even if you're not a musician and just want to see what it's like being here, you can come. I'd happy to invite you to a session and let you see everything for yourself. Thanks for watching this entire update. I know it's been a long one, but I really wanted to show you the value and the meaning of everything you brought to the campaign by donating, by sharing it. It means so much to me. Thank you very much.